I think it might be working. This could be the new setup here. We're going to see if this whole thing works. All right. So the other night I was doing, or the other day, the other afternoon, whenever that was, I was just running everything off my phone, and that's typically the way that I do these lives. And so I now am doing something a little bit different. What is up, Nate? Can you hear me okay out there in La La Land? How's that sounding for you? This is really just a rig check, right? I've got a nice new 4K thing running up here. I'm trying to check and see if the mic is going to work the way that we need it to. So when I do go live and I do these things, I'm going to be able to connect with you in a better way. So it is a little weird. Awesome. What's up? What's up, Wayne? What's up, Marshall? What's up, Cole? How you guys doing? Oh my gosh, good to see all y'all. I hope you're having an awesome weekend. So the other day, I threatened to drop a video for tomorrow, and that is not going to happen. Now, I know you can't really see because it sort of looks a little overexposed, mainly because I got like the light working over here. There's still snow melting out back, and really the thing that I'm trying to do is run some equipment on the lawn next door. So the plan is going to be to get out there and do some work with a new piece of equipment that I'm actually going to give away. And that was something I talked about the other day. This is great. So I'm also working with a much larger screen than I've dealt with before. This thing is, so I'm trying to figure out how to get like the chats in the right place so I can see you guys. This works. There we go. All right. Sweet. Okay. Well, I think we're going to be able to do this. So yeah, that was kind of one of the big steps is I really wanted to do in here was when I built the place out. The place actually has its own dedicated 5G as well. So I can have like super quick everything running out of here and be able to do these with no lag time. So that's good. That is awesome. Matt Behringer, glad to hear that. That's awesome. So I imagine for most of you, I don't know how many Utahns we have in here right now. There we go. Any advice on getting rid of snow on my lawn? So that's kind of what I'm dealing with. I don't know exactly where you're at, but we got 17 inches here the other day. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. Can you see the drum set in the picture? It's actually just over here. The drum set's just off the side here. So I got the guitars hanging on the wall. Finally, the SG over here, the little custom telly is out of the way. So, you know, all of this is fully going to be set up for band practice and everything else. So good. I am really glad this is working. Yellow snow melts faster. That is a classic. That is classic. You gotta really look out for that stuff. So anyway, you know, I got a plan for the lawn next door right now. We've just been waiting. Oh yeah, this is actually, I got Fescue Freddy's sticker on here. I don't know if he's around. I hope he gets well soon. Guy sent me an email, and hopefully he's getting well soon. So any of you guys who didn't see like the post about getting me some stickers and things like that, I do want to get my wall set up here. So any of y'all out there that might have missed that post in Facebook, you know, you can send me a message through Messenger, and I can get you my address, and we can get like a little sticker exchange so I can set up this whole side thing and have that knocked out. So it is super sunny today. It's only about 50 degrees, and the snow is finally actually melting, and the drive, the kind of mud drive is starting to firm up again. And that was kind of the thing. We needed to stay off it for a little bit because it's a little sloppy out there. I'm not able to run like dump trucks and anything like that yet. So that's something else. Cole, it's John Perry. And actually, a lot of the time you can find me on different things like john.biogreen is another way to find me. And that's something you can do. So if you want to just find me on there, that would be fine. And you can message me that way. And you'll see my ugly mug on there, and you'll know that it's me. Tanner, Travis, hey, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So I want to know how many people out here right now that are on, how many people are using Seek this year, or you might call it CK. I'm I'm just curious on how many of y'all have jumped onto that. I've been getting some really fun feedback on that particular material, on people that are using it, and how it is just sort of lighting everything up like crazy. So, I wanted to just give a little bit of history on that, so you have kind of have an idea on what that whole concept is about, and then kind of put some sort of limits to use for you, unless you're going to really make sure you have enough water with it. So, because it has such a packed house of auxins and gibberellins and cytokinins, we're talking about some sort of plant hormonal overload, and everybody likes when hormonal overload is used in a sentence. That will push significant growth and cell division. So, I mean, you need to use it sparingly. So that's something that you really need to just use it in the springtime. For your the cool season guys out there, just use it in the springtime. Hang off of it in the summer, and then come back out of it come back onto it in the fall would be when you want to use it, because it's just too much for the plant, and you don't really want to force it. For warm season folks, you can use it through the winter, but we need to through the summer, but you need to run it with a little bit more water just to make sure that you're not going to cause any damage. So, if you're only going to use like half an ounce to an ounce per 1,000 square feet, really get a full gallon down with it, and just make sure you get it down and watered in, because it'll cause the grass to go nuts. So that's something to think about. Man, yeah, people are getting snow. I'm gonna swear for a second. All this snow is bullshit. I'm gonna be honest with you. When the ski resorts closed, and they stayed open an extra week here, which was really nice of them. That's not usually something we get out of Vail Corp, but they did stay open an extra week for us. And then we got like the biggest snow of the year happened. What's today? Saturday. So 3 days after the resort closed. So that's something. So the other thing about the Seek, if you're going to use it, there's it's not just for turf, right? Like one of the main areas that we've had that product going out for a while is for tree and shrub programs. So it works extremely well for your bedding plants and for flowers and for potted plants and things like that. It's just something to just hit sporadically and use it that way. So what's up, Trevor? How you doing, buddy? What time is it over there anyway? I'm always curious about that. Is that early in the morning? I don't understand what's happening over there. Ben, how you doing? Wayne, yeah, I bet you're glad you live in Florida. I've been doing some presentations all week and actually using this space for that. For those of you who've recently gotten the soil reports that I've been doing, I'm using that screen back there as a backdrop for your soil tests. And so I can actually stand and do it in presenter mode, which is awesome. Ben Howard, how you doing, buddy? And that's actually working extremely well. So if you've had that recently, had one of those soil tests recently, that's where I'm doing them right now. It's kind of cool because I can actually throw the whole thing up on the screen. That's a 75 inch. So it's might look smaller on this screen. It's only like 3 inches over here, whatever. So that's cool. I had somebody the other night who commented on my last video who didn't get one of their tests. I need everybody to just check their spam filters and make sure, just so you know the way that those things are going. I'm taking a look at your test. I'm basically recording it live, and then I'm putting it onto YouTube on a private link for you. And many of you have probably seen those accidentally post up publicly. I don't know. I've done it once or twice just because tech is not my forte. So that's really how it is. Barry, 10 inches. Good for you, man. That's nobody around here is good. 50s and rainy. Yep. 55 people watching. Yeah. Look at good rabbi. It's good to hear from you, buddy. How are you? So, all right. 8:22 a.m. Look at that. So it's Trevor's up. He's going for the long black this morning. Probably heading over to somewhere good to get a nice black cup of coffee. So anyhow, we're actually going to start expecting some really nice spring weather over here the goal this weekend was actually to move some of this rock out of the way and start to get an idea of how much we needed to bring in and how much was going to go out. And right now, rough estimate is looking like we're probably going to haul out about 6 dump trucks of rock from here and then bring in about 5 back. It seems kind of silly. We're just trading rock out. But I have to bring in a bunch of material. Rabbi, I don't know. I haven't done a tune in a long time. I've been actually writing a ton of songs. We do have an album that'll be hitting iTunes here fairly quickly. I just have to get the finals loaded up into our distribution channel, and that'll be going out. And maybe I'll sneak some stuff out. I actually have everything sort of on a back end on YouTube in the order the album is going right now, and it sounds pretty dang good. Dave Grohl. I wish, if you were Dave Grohl, that would be awesome. Should I wait to soil test till next spring or put anything down? No, actually, you don't need to wait. You can test before your next feeding. Now, sometimes like slow release fertilizers can screw things up, but if you're going to come in, say, 45 days, is somewhere in that range before you're going to feed, just do it right before your next fertilization. You can test it then. Maybe it's going to have some stuff in there, that might be reading from your first fertilization, but it's not really going to be the end of the world. So when am I going to be in Jersey? I don't know. I know I'm going to be in Connecticut in June for a minute, and then I got to be down in Florida. I know I'm going to be back in Georgia in May. I'm kind of jumping out, trying to get kind of back all over the place. And I need to see something here. I needed to make sure hold on. I'll show you why. Now, this is not turning into anything. Take it easy, all you. I know you're getting really excited right now. This is why it's time to get back out on the road right here. There you go. That's it. I did it. I'm out. I'm ready. I'm ready to get back out into the field. So there you go. You guys made me throw my John the Lawn King thing down here. There you go. So just don't forget to get your limited edition John the Lawn King shirts. Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, I need to make sure that this is correct so that you guys can see this. These will be available. I'm just going to make sure that you guys know exactly what this is so you can get out and purchase them. And these will be available online. Hold on one second. Just a second. Hold on. So for a limited time, these will be available for anybody looking for those. These are the John the Lawn King sweatshirts right here. They're pretty cool. I don't know if you guys have gotten to see those yet. So those will be available online right there. You can get your very own limited edition shirt. So there you go. All right. Now, just so you know, I actually did check with Jake before I did that. I told him I was going to be doing that, and so I will be wearing that around because I think it's funny. And that's you can be looking for those in no time. All right, I might have missed a couple things here. So yeah, anyway, going to be getting back out there, starting to travel again. I will be in Georgia for a short time, coming down to the plant. We have a lot of new equipment going in, and we're just, we've got an awful lot going on. Look at that. There's somebody behind me sneaking in. You see that? It's my daughter, like, trying to decide if she should walk in here. I built this so that I could, like, get away from them. Don't tell them. Oh, here we go. Just get ready. This will be something. Yes, dear. Hi. Can you say hi to everybody? And then you can go like this. I'm doing a little live feed. Do you want to just say hi and then leave?
Did you hear anything from Katie?
No, go away. This is it. See? All right, there it is. You like that? That is my daughter. She keeps me in check all the time. It's ridiculous. So let's see. Cole, do I trust pH probes? I think maybe you're talking about the ones from like Home Depot, right? Like that kind of thing. I think that they're okay. They're not obviously not going to be as good as if you bought like a Hannah. Those are kind of more expensive, but you can actually really get a good test of how those look, how your soil really is, and they're okay. They get you kind of close. Matthew Parker, I have two kids. I have an 8-year-old and 11-year-old, a son and a daughter. So Ben Driscoll. All right. Spoon juice went on sale. Can I use it as a quick spray on my plants or lawn only? Actually, you can do both. It's funny. I was talking to a buddy of mine by the name of Myron Ritter, who runs the BioGreen operation down in Melbourne, Florida. And that is something that he has been using for his tree shrub and palm program for a long time. So the 501 does work really well for that. That's what I call it, the 501. Your guys are going to call it the spoon juice because, way back in the day, I was really good at naming things. And so they were all numbers, just so you know. That's kind of that. So some YouTube has a new hairdo. Am I going to match him? Who's that? I don't know. It's not the mullet, right? Okay. Nebraska Prepper. If I could only buy one of your products, what should it be? You know what? I would keep it as simple as possible if it were me. I would probably run something like either the 402 or I would just stick with RGS because of what it does for boosting, your overall fertility. I think it just works fantastic. So I like having the combo of the humic, fulvic, and kelp. I think it's pretty sweet. The pH probes that look like a plumb bob. Yeah, Milan, I think is that am I talking about the same thing? I'm not sure. So what's funny about this mullet thing? I actually didn't know that I obviously finally cut my hair at some point and it's getting long again. I can't believe it's just crazy. But I had this whole thing going. It was flipping out the back, and I was texting with Ryan Knorr a little bit. It was actually back around. It was in January, February. And I was like, man, I just can't stand this. And I was actually able to pull it all the way back. And I had like a stupid little ponytail. And I had to get rid of it. It was driving me absolutely bananas. So I got rid of mine. But I know that they were having a fun little thing, Ryan and Connor, with that whole situation. So it's pretty funny. Yeah. All right. Scott O'Hare putting down second dose. Look at that. Okay. There you go. All right. So, anything else I can do for you guys right now? I'm just hoping for a weather change so I can get out into the field. Yeah, see, Wayne, the RGS, that's the thing is I just think it's an easy additive, and it's really a good gateway drug into the rest of them. Push bluegrass too hard with nitrogen, planning on 6 pounds this year. So here's one thing that you should keep in mind is as you increase your nitrogen levels, you will have more of a demand on P and K, so you will have to bring those up as well. It's going to pull all the other nutrients along with it. And, if you want to do that, I do think that you're going to hit a point of diminishing returns where you're just feeding and potentially feeding some other issues. So, what I'm trying to get a lot of people involved in is to look at their lawn more, to just sort of pay attention to it. And if it looks like it's not peppy, I guess is the best way for it. If it's just going to, be, if it's looking a little light or slightly discolored, it's probably time to feed it some in. And you can tell when a lawn is hungry, and you can tell when a lawn is dry. And I think it's better to just sort of monitor it from your own perspective. So I think that's the thing to do. Just sort of watch it as you go and feed as you need it. Striper Man, awesome. Glad to hear that. Milan, I usually kind of wait until summer before I'm starting to apply iron. If it's looking like your lawn isn't super dark, probably your nitrogen is a little bit low, is more than anything else, because, it is going to temporarily darken things up with iron. But, right now it should have just a healthy dark green color just on its own naturally. So I guess I'm going to have to check and see. I haven't been on the tubes really a whole lot lately because I've been setting things up. So I'll have to see what happened. I guess maybe Connor cut the thing. I missed it. I didn't see it. Size strainer on those. Okay, so honestly, for a lot, I don't know what you're running on there right now. That would be helpful. You can take a look at those in like a 20 screen, like something that's actually fairly large. A lot of the people actually started removing their screens. But one thing you should just check is what other things you might be mixing all together at once. That would be the biggest thing that I would do. And, basically this is what we did in all of our spray rigs when we ran stuff is I left the strainer in the top of the tank. Everything that I poured through got strained, but then the strainers, we took them out of the inline systems and just let everything run. And it didn't have any other wear and tear on the pump that you wouldn't normally get. We didn't have any diaphragm issues or anything like that. We just strained through the main strainer on the tank, and that did the biggest thing. So that's something. 50 mesh, yeah, you can drop that down to 20, it'd be fine. Permed the mullet. Oh man, I gotta see this. That is crazy. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna have to call him. Think he would answer if I call him right now? Let's find out. Let's see. Let's see here. We're gonna find out. Ready? He's probably out filming, so he's probably not gonna answer if I call him. But let's just see what happens when we do this. Ready? We'll check right now. Pit Viper glasses. Oh, those are sweet. Let's see. Your call has been forwarded. Look at that. See, he sent me straight to voicemail. 801. Oh, you don't get to hear his number. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. Anyway, we're going to see. He's been threatening coming down here, so we'll see when that's going to happen. Get him over here, and we're going to do a little shed tour. I get to go see his, and then oh, that sounds weird, but yeah, he's going to come. Whatever. All right, let's see what else we got here. One more big frost. Yeah, man, I'm ready for that to be done. Blown cellulose insulation as mulch to protect seed during germination. I don't know. Never really done that. That sounds interesting. That does sound interesting. Christian, how important do you think it is to test the water we irrigate with to see what the water districts have in it? So a couple things. You can actually pull a water report if you are on culinary water. That might be something that you could do and just see what's happening, just to get an idea. I know that around here, I actually messaged somebody about this the other day, not up here particularly because of the way our water actually looks. But down in the valley, people who have secondary tend to get a lot more like salty and sort of like hard water towards the end of the year. And that can cause problems later on. People with wells can have extremely high pH water coming out, high calcitic water, super hard water, and that can actually be a little bit dehydrating to the turf. Even though you are watering. So that's something that's pretty common in Florida. I think it's good to know what you're working with, but, for the most part, if you've got a 4-gallon backpack or something like that, and you're adding in ounces of material that have varying pHs, whether it's, if you're say applying iron or something like that, it's going to have a very low pH. It's going to adjust the pH of the water down pretty far. You kind of have to just hope, honestly, that it's going to be okay. We have some companies that buffer pH, and they use a couple of our buffering products for that. Like if they've got, super high alkaline water, that's typically how it goes. And they'll buffer their tank mixes, especially if they're just trying to keep everything neutral. So that is something that can happen. So let's see. Okay. Hey, what is up, Mark? How you doing? How you doing, buddy? All right. Lushy, welcome. How we doing? What's going on? Right. Did I miss anything else up here? I might have. No? Okay. Good. Cool. All right. Anybody else have anything else they want to throw at me here real quick while we're doing this? I'm probably just until I can actually get out and start doing some work in the field. I'm probably going to be doing something like this. Wait a minute. I got to bring this back up again since there's more people on. Don't forget your limited edition John the Lawn King sweatshirts available. Jake's merch place. You can find these, so you can go in there and look for those. So there you go. We got a Norwegian in the house. Kenneth from Norway. We have. I believe you. I believe you. That is something that we would definitely like to get into as time goes on, is to be more worldwide. For a while, we actually did ship to Mexico and Canada, and that was the first little foray into being an international company. But things kind of changed. I don't know. That was a while back, 8-9 years ago, and it made it a little bit more difficult. So, yeah. Let's see here. Jackie, you live in Florida Panhandle. Should you get your well water tested? Depends on how close you are to the coast. For a lot of places, the more coastal you are, and I see more of the alkaline water down from Central Florida south, just so you know. That's something that you can. I mean, you could at least throw a pH meter in there and see what things are looking like. But again, for the most part, if you're having to clean shells and things out of your well filters, then you probably are going to have some fairly calcitic water coming out. So let's see here. Sea kelp for folks in South Alabama through summer. Yes, make sure you have enough water, and yes, you can totally use it. Let's see. What's better, liquid or soluble? Well, it honestly really depends on what you're trying to accomplish there, because at the end of the day, it comes to your final solution of material and what's easier to use. So some water-soluble materials don't really ever want to be fully soluble. They tend to fall out. If you're trying to go for heavier concentrations of something, it can work pretty well. Companies like Easy Flow have used that material in their FERT tanks, and it works pretty well. It's kind of like a similar consistency to Miracle, which is very soluble. So, if you take a powder, right, and you take a look at what the total analysis of that powder is, you're still doing the same math no matter what, right? So, but there is a solubility index that is going to keep, sort of some of the rates down, right? So you're not necessarily going to be able to put pounds of active material down onto the ground. It's just a different way to deliver it. So I would say that's something for you to consider. Tony, yes, absolutely. 1:1:1 spray ratio product. We've actually been putting together some pretty cool clear liquids. So that's something that is that we've been playing with and trying to see what the highest potential percentage we can get out of the liquid, because it's still, again, it comes down to the same thing. Like if you're trying to make massive corrections and you're doing it that way, it's easier to go out with a granular and, get pounds and pounds down. You won't really be able to do that with a soluble, and you might not be able to do that with a liquid either, unless the volume is just extremely high. Okay. Jerry Roman, welcome. Let's see. Marshall, hang tight. I hope you're feeling better. Let's see here. First timer. Excited product amazing on my lawn. Do bark raisins with peach? It does not. That is actually a tank mix. Scott, POA constant battle? Not necessarily. That's something that is you strengthen your lawn and you make sure that you're controlling it year in and year out, making sure your timings are good. You can get that under control, but it is a pain in the ass. Let's see. Good Rabbi, maybe. That's a maybe. You might just want to make sure that you're treating it with insecticides as well, just to make sure nothing gets out of there. So you can try that. Mark, that thing goes really super loud. I barely turn it up to like 3 and it blows people's ears off. So that is an old Ampeg right there that just kicks ass. Jackie, that's funny. You might want to do that. Without a knot, quackgrass. Take a look, Mark. I think that you may have some options on that. Where actually are you located? Because I have seen some guys use some stuff in different areas. I'm going to see if I can pull that up. You may just have to toast it. Fernie, water softener line busted and soaked the entire lawn. Will this hinder growth on the turf? Did the salt actually make it out, or was this something that was just running through it like it normally would? If I don't know where you are with your St. Aug. If you're in Florida and if you're anywhere close to coast or you have sandy soil, that thing is going to drain really, really quickly. Okay. So just, water with like normal water that doesn't have all the salt in it, you'd be fine. High P and low K. Any recommendations for the first feeding? I don't know if you know how low the K is, but I would recommend that you actually get that out. Don't worry about putting any sort of phosphorus-containing products out if you already have high phosphorus. But as far as your potassium goes, feel free to throw as much as a pound down right out of the gate. Depending on the source that you're using, just mix it, spray it, spread it, however you're going to do it. Just get it out there. If you're low K, again, I wouldn't necessarily ever recommend using a liquid to correct K deficiencies. You should use a granular. That is going to be the best thing for you, just because the soil takes a crap load. Okay, so you just need a ton. Salt leaked out near Austin area with the in-laws. Okay, so you may get some damage. The salt can burn it up. You're going to be best to flood it. Definitely get some clean water out on top of it. Salt is going to be fairly mobile. The other thing you can do is if you're near Austin, you probably have pretty high pH soil as well, and you may want to throw a sulfur treatment down on top of that as well to just sort of be a little bit more neutralizing. So I would take a look at doing something like that. All right. Okay. What else you got? What time is it? Oh man, I have to be getting ready to actually get myself together here at some point. Anything else I can grab for you here while we're here? This is a fun little test. I'm glad everybody was able to jump on and ask some questions and be part of this. It's still a little bit confusing. I mean, I'm kind of like looking back and forth. I've just got this 35-inch screen across here, so it's a little bit challenging. 2-pound overseed, about 50-50. Cool. All right. Good rabbi. Okay. Ahmed, yeah, there's a couple of things. So I just want to kind of give everybody an update. We've been putting out some cool things in the last little bit. Hey, Jerry Roman, when this ends, jump back to the beginning. I talked a lot about Seek. That was one of the first things I talked about. So you can just pop back over there. So I lost my new products. So as things have been going this year with how busy it has been and the demand of product on both the production facility and my employees, I have not been really pushing hard to put some new stuff out. We have, as you've probably seen, a few things that have dropped over the last week or two, that Alan has made some announcements on and Justin has made some announcements on. So we have been getting that material out. But right now we are just... it is so freaking busy. It is fantastic. So we're just kind of getting that whole thing. It's awesome. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate it. Yeah, Jerry, just go back and play it. Tony, good to hear from you. When should you apply for it? When the ryegrass germinates? You can actually do it a little bit ahead of time. It's just going to work its way down into the ground. You can start that. It doesn't really matter. You're going to be feeding the rest of the grass, and the new seedlings are going to find it and they're going to use it. So you can go ahead and start that. Don't worry about that. It'll be just fine. So anytime, get out there and knock it out. Hopefully you're not going to have any frosts or anything like that. All right, cool. All right, so happy Saturday, everybody. Thank you. Just for the quick, I was just really happy to get on here and jump on and just make sure that all this stuff was working so that we can do this more. This is an interesting question. How is humic acid discovered to be helpful? Seems like an interesting story. Okay, so I do want to touch on this real quick. So, all right. Part of the decay of organic matter releases acids. Part of the root exudates. You have all of these acids that are kind of forming down into the soil, and they do it naturally. And humic itself is, for the most part, it's pretty much tied up. It gets tied up into organic matter that's slow on the decay. Okay, so while it can be studied, the only way that it could really be seen as beneficial is if there was some reactivity done to the soil. And what ended up happening is this sort of humic fraction would flush out of the organic matter. And then there was this benefit that as that acid became available, the roots ended up chasing it back. So it was almost like these acids were so locked in that they had to take a bath in order to be flushed out. And it's pretty cool. So, with this sort of like, if you want to call it like this sort of dirty coal, there's lignite, lignite, all of these different things. Lignite being more oxidized, where it's kind of lost a lot of this other sort of, it doesn't really contain the same materials as lignite. It's just more decayed, so it has more oxygen in it. All of those acids began to just sort of store up and get locked, and at a high percentages. And depending on where you're pulling it out of, whether it's from some of these shale beds or where it's coming out of peat moss or something like that, you end up with different concentrations of humic acid in the material, and then you still have to kit it out the same way. Now, there are water extracted humics that work pretty well, but usually get a lower yield when you're dealing with like higher material. You can do sort of the extraction that we do, which is more of an alkali extraction, and we pull all of that material up into solution and make it available. So there's sort of a few different things that happen with it, and it just tends to sort of invigorate the soil in a sense. And one of the ways that we maybe, I always say that it sets us apart in the way that we manufacture things is the length of time for stability and the amount of carbon that I leave in there. And so it goes through this multiple settling process and sort of this like strengthening process over time. And everything's moved to different tanks, and it settles and it gets stronger and settles and gets stronger. And so when we get the material out, to be perfectly honest with you, we advertise this 12%, but our testing rates are considerably higher than that, just because of the concentrations that we're able to get out of the material. So the cool thing is, I don't separate out other material as well. So some companies will pull a fulvic fraction first and have a humic fraction and sell two different products. But the way that we extract and how we do our manufacturing process preserves that material. And so we're really getting a lot more volume into the actual solution that you are using. And that's kind of sets us apart a little bit as well. You'll see there's just some really cool things about the humic fraction, the fulvic fraction, and then how it combines with other material. And I wanted to leave as much of that in place so that everybody gets the benefit of the overall material. Now, I still get a lot of people who don't really understand mixes and how things are sort of put together in concentrates in bottles, right? So if we say, I've been really struggling with a lot of different Department of Agricultures to have them change sort of the way that we can word things, because it's not exactly accurate to say that it's 12% of humic and then kind of, water. That isn't accurate at all, not even close. Because of the materials, carbon compounds that are in it, because of the minerals that are in there, because of the fulvic that's in there, there's high percentages of material, but we can't claim it on the label because we're just selling this humic material. So it's different. And, I can kind of liken it to this, like say we've got a bottle that says 12% of something, what's the rest of it? It's kind of like if you took a look at a bag of FERT that was, say it was a 1010 that was 30%, what's the rest of it? Right? Like, you're not disclaiming all of this other material that makes up the other 70% of that bag. And it's kind of the same thing, when we're talking about liquids, there's more in there and there's more benefit, but you can't always claim everything on the material. So hopefully that kind of helps. All right. That was long-winded. I apologize. I hope you guys made it through that. That was more than maybe you wanted. Let's take a look here. I might have missed a couple things here. Okay, a second season elemental sulfur ammonium sulfate. Could I use Yard Mastery Magical? So I guess you're trying to bring your pH down still. Okay, I think is really what you're going for here. And yes, it just does it sort of temporarily. So that's something that you can do. You can definitely use it. It might not last as long. It does a quick kind of a thing. It's super fine. It gets down to the soil. It'll make a difference. So yeah, you can use it, but really, sticking to that sulfur program, it works really well. You can do some changes with citric acid as well, but I kind of like the long game. So I would kind of stick to doing your sulfur applications. You might be able to like I said, quickly correct it, but it might not give you the ultimate long-term goal that you're looking for. Thank you, Todd. Hopefully that was echo. It's an easy topic to get onto, when you're talking about humics and things like that. And really, for me, it was more something that was stumbled upon sort of early in my career. And I didn't really have a full understanding of it and what could be possible until we started getting into the agricultural market and doing tests year over year in row cropping and the benefits that we were getting. And, I need to be very clear about this, is I'm not like a humic is the thing at all. I use it as a tool in mixes to make mixes better. That's really all there is to it. I recommend it to people to put on their lawns because it makes programs better. It isn't a replacement for a program, and it's never been a replacement for a program. And that's just silly to think. So I think that, if you're using it correctly and you're putting it out right, it will only benefit your soil and it will only benefit your overall program. So that's what I would do. Is there a place nowadays for elemental sulfur and dropping pH? Charlie, I recommend that all the time. Whenever I start seeing high pHs, I recommend elemental sulfur all the time. I recommend it to my Florida guys on a regular basis. It seems like for the most part, if I'm seeing like a super high pH, there's two things that are often needed in order to make a big difference. One is elemental sulfur and the other one is potassium. Those two seem to go hand in hand most of the time. And typically, if you are it kind of depends. Here I have high pH and I have actually high potassium as well. So it doesn't necessarily go hand in hand here. But for most of the soil tests I see, that is something that comes up, and it's pretty common. So, all right. Again, sorry, that went long-winded. Didn't mean to do that. Anything else I can do for you before I jump off here? Yes. You can use citric acid and it will work. And there are, it's low rates that can be done often, and it will eventually sort of work its way out of the system. You'll end up having a more longer term effect with sulfur, but it also takes a lot longer to get there. When does high OM percentage become an issue? So, for a lot of people who are looking at like sort of overall soil, it kind of ranges. I used to have this number in mind that I really like to hit, which was somewhere around like 3.8 was this number that I sort of came to through working out how much nitrogen release there was, how much water holding capacity there was. And there was this whole math equation that got me to that number. And that was the one I was always going for. And definitely you can have higher organic matter than that. It isn't really bad until your water or your soil stops releasing water and that starts to sponge up and it gets mushy. And that will ultimately deoxygenate your root zone and cause other problems. So, it's interesting enough that if you were working at building and building and building your organic matter and you were getting all these benefits of it, at some point you're able to really back down off of your overall program because of how much nutrient cycling is happening out of that organic matter. And that is kind of the ultimate goal, is getting to this sort of, I'm not going to call it self-sustaining because it always needs like a little bit of additional nutrient supplementation, but it is a major, major difference in how much you actually have to put out. So if I get a test from like Ward Laboratories and I see somebody who has like a 3.5 organic matter or even pushing towards 4, the recommendations from that soil testing lab come way down to where they might only be telling people that they need 2 pounds or less than 2 pounds per thousand annually because their organic matter is doing work for them. So that is something that you can keep in mind. Lecomte. Let's see. I've seen people mixing FERT into weed killer to prove efficacy. Yeah, it's funny. I have people say all kinds of different things. I've got people who put aerate in with their weed control. I don't necessarily know why, but they seem to like how it kills things. Just doing a little bit of FERT. Actually, the 700, the green effect, works great for that. So if you do want to do it, then that's something you can do. Christian, I'll talk to you later. Good. Always thanks for being on here. Ahmed, yes, soil is similar. High P and pH. Everything I've read is you can't alter pH in Denver. You can, but it's not long term. There are minerals in the soil that are never going to go anywhere. So, you're either going to cap it and build on top of it and kind of like let everything sort of change that you add to it. And that works pretty well. Or you can just do these processes of where you are putting, sulfur down and letting it just kind of work through and letting it work through. It will bring it down eventually. Are grass clippings enough for OM? Not necessarily, Jay. Roots are better for OM because it's already down in the ground and decaying rather than having to work from the top up. Or I'm sorry, from the top down. It's working from underground up, and that actually makes a big difference. Let's see here. Church aerated air 5. The 5%. I think you're talking about the potassium. It's actually more of like an 8%. I don't know. Humic content is actually what's in there. It's a little bit different. But we actually labeled it as a 005 for some places just because it was easier to get it registered in certain states. So that's why we did that. Let's see. Yes, good rabbi. That is why. 7-0 ho because of the foliar uptake and the speeding absorption. That is exactly right. Okay. All right. So for me, it is now 5 o'clock. That means that I need to go get myself ready, having a big dinner with the family tonight. So I have got to get myself out that door into another door and get myself together. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys for being on here. Thanks for the questions. Hopefully that helped with some of the things you guys had out there. And again, until I can get out there and filming and doing the things that I really like to do in the lawn, we'll do some more of these and just keep getting you guys kind of steered in the right direction for springtime. All right. Thank you all. Okay, I'm not cooking. I'm actually going out tonight. A very famous local restaurant is closing at the end of the month, and we're all bummed out about it. And it was my mother's favorite restaurant when she was alive, and so we're all going to go and enjoy this sort of one last time. So appreciate it, everybody. I'll talk to y'all soon.